What's going on, y'all? Welcome back. It's Ars. Let's get productive. So today I want to talk about a new plugin by HMD. Now, a lot of you guys may know him as Help Me Devon. He released a few different plugins, the Rosetta series plugins. He released all of those, but recently he released a plugin that I'm really enjoying, and I'm finding that I'm using it on just about every session because it just speeds up the process. And the name of this plugin is called VORTEX. Now, besides the fact that it looks really cool, like I said before, it just so happens to be a plugin that I can find a use for it in just about anything. Now, if you're trying to sit ad-libs in different places in the mix and background vocals and all of that stuff, this is a very useful plugin for all of my producers and beat makers out there that has a sound in the beat that is a very important sound to the beat. When you take the sound out of the beat sounds completely different, but you want it to sit in a different space in the beat. So it's not too in front of your face, and it allows rooms for those other sounds to shine, and everything feels like it's sitting on the sound stage at the right place. VORTEX seems like it's gonna be the plugin that you wanna check out. So without wasting any more time, let's see what this thing is all about. HMD, VORTEX, let's check it out. So, as always, I have Logic queued up, and this is VORTEX. Now, like I said earlier, VORTEX is a plugin that is going to help you place different sounds and different forms of audio in the right space inside of your mix. If you have something that's sitting forward in the mix and it's a little too in front of all of the other sounds, you can pull that sound to the back of the mix using different dimensions inside of this plugin. It kind of acts like a reverb, but a simplified one. I feel like he dialed in all of the different tricks and things that you would do using a reverb to give more space to your audio and have things sit the proper way. And he simplified it with very easy to use translations and just minimal knobs so that you know exactly what to do to get exactly what you're going for, getting what you're trying to achieve out of your mix in the simplest way possible. So if we look at the plugin right here, you have this super cool graphic that's happening right here, but this kind of acts like your VORTEX, and you're going to see that this graphic is going to change as you change some of the settings inside of the plugin. If you're trying to push your sound forward in the mix, you see the VORTEX gets bigger and bigger. If you're trying to pull the sound back in the mix, the VORTEX gets further away. It's kind of visibly showing you what's happening to your sound. So that's what happens when you use your forward and back knob. You're either pushing the sound forward in the mix or pulling it back. Over here on the right side, you have your up and down knob, and this is basically going to raise the output of your sound after you've adjusted it via the forward and back knob. So even if you pull the sound backwards in the mix, adding more reverb and adding more space to your sound to pull it back in the mix. And then you can raise the output by turning it up or turning it down. You can make that sound more aggressive or more faint in the background using the up or down knobs. Down here, you have 3 different dimensions. So 3 different types of VORTEX. You have your dimension 1, which I like to call a medium VORTEX. And you can push that sound forward using the medium space or bringing it back. Dimension 2 is very good for drums, obviously, and you'll notice that when you hear it. Let me just put it on something real quick so you can see what I'm talking about. So as you can see, using dimensions 2, it sounds like a medium-sized room, but it also sounds good if you want to add more of a live feel to your beat overall. Like, it doesn't have to just be drums. It can be a piano sound. It can be whatever sound you're using. Adding dimension 2 is going to make it sound like it's being played in a medium-sized room. You can raise the output of that sound while it's sitting inside that space by using the up and down knob. And you'll notice over here, there's a 3rd dimension, dimension 3. I typically use this on sounds that I'm trying to shape the tone a little bit slightly and make it sound really spacious. This is the one you use if you want to add a lot of space. If you want this thing to sound like almost like it's in a cathedral type space, use dimension 3. And we'll hear what the drums sound like on dimension 3. And between these three different dimensions here, you can really carve out the sound that you're going for. Now, up top here, you have a few different presets, 3D filling, 80s vocals, back up just a bit to just give a little bit of separation in the sounds. So it's adding a little bit of space, but just slightly, just to allow room for other things to shine in the mix. And these two arrows right here represent undo and redo. So you can undo what you just did or redo what you just did if you want to go forward or backwards. And that's it. A very easy to use, very simple, straightforward plugin. But it's very useful. Like I said earlier, there's not a situation to where I couldn't find a reason to bring this plugin up and use it on something, which at least in my experience, that's the sign of a really great plugin when I can use it on just about anything. It's not that reverbs aren't cool. There's all kinds of different types of reverbs, and you can add all kinds of tone to your sound, and you can get really spacey with some reverbs and things like that to just add a creative flair to your beat. But just using a reverb in a practical way to really try to sit your sound at the right place inside of the sound stage and get it to sound like everything is working together in a cohesive way and nothing is too overpowering in the beat. Everything is sitting where it needs to sit. This is something you can bring up and achieve the sound you're going for really easily without having to dial in a bunch of different knobs and stuff on a reverb that you're using. It's like very straightforward, no pun intended. You can go forward in the mix, backward in the mix. So now what I want to do is show you how I use Black Vortex on one of the sounds inside of my beat. So right here, this is kind of like a little harp sound. Now this is the sound without Black Vortex on it. And as you can hear, it already has a little bit of reverb on it. But when it comes to all of the sounds that were being played inside of the beat, it was a little bit too forward in the mix, and I wanted to pull it backwards and have it play more in the background of the headphones. So I turned on Black Vortex, and this is the sound with Black Vortex on. Very subtle, but you'll notice the difference when I play with all of the other sounds in the beat. And right now I'm gonna just play around with some of these settings inside of Black Vortex so you can hear what it can add and what it can subtract. And now I'm gonna play it with the whole beat so you can kind of hear what's happening here. Yeah, like I said, even though I feel like Dimension 2 is very useful in terms of being used on drums, I use this on a sound and it works perfect in maintaining the live feel of that sound, but rearranging where it's sitting in the space of the overall beat. But now let's get right into the cook up. Let me show you guys what this beat sounds like using Black Vortex. And that's it. That's the beat I made using Black Vortex. Now, like I said, this is a great plugin for anyone that's looking to just get a sound to sit where they want it to sit in the mix quickly without having to dial a bunch of knobs using reverb and different things like that. Now, don't get it twisted. There's a space and a place and a time for all different types of plugins. So this is not like a reverb replacer. This is something, I mean, I'm not sure, maybe Devon has his own reasons for why he made the plugin, but I honestly feel like the plugin works best for producers because a lot of times we're trying to bang out beats, we're trying to get really quick mixes on our beats, and we want the sounds to sit where we need them to sound quick. And even though we know how to use reverb, and even though we know how to do different techniques to carve space for certain sounds, it's always good when you can just throw a plugin on a sound that just works as soon as you throw it on the plugin. I mean, as soon as you throw it on the plugin, throw a plugin on the sound that just works as soon as you throw it on the sound, and just dial in a few knobs and get it to sound exactly the way you want it to sound. And that's what I think Black Vortex is perfect for. But let me know what you guys think. Is Black Vortex something you can see yourself adding to your arsenal? If there's any new plugins that you'd like for me to check out and bring to the channel, leave it down in the comment section below and I'll check it out. As always, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you could be notified anytime I drop a new video. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.